and welcome to Generally Speaking, the podcast that bridges the worlds of pop culture and personal development. I'm your host, Jennifer Snook. I am so happy to be here with you today, you guys. If by chance you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you reach out and smash that subscribe button. I would appreciate it. Thank you very much. Now, before we dive into this week's episode, I just wanted to take a minute to just get super personal with you guys and fill you in on the last 10, 12 days of my life, because my God, I will tell you, it has been a journey. It has kicked my ass and taken me down to almost zero, you guys. On the 8th, I was up in the Bay for a beautiful family birthday party for my uncle's 80th birthday. And it was one of those magical days. My family has been kind of fragmented since my grandparents died, and we used to all be very close. And this was one of the first times that we've gathered in a really long time. My estranged sister was there. She showed up. So it was a very special, beautiful day for all of us. It really felt like a day where love mattered most. You know, it was beautiful and it was wonderful, and all of us had a really good time. And we all walked away with very full hearts from being together. But what I also walked away with, which I didn't know at the time, was influenza A. So that was on a Sunday, you guys. I woke up early, drove home to LA on Tuesday morning. I got my monthly lupus infusion because I didn't know I was sick. You're not supposed to get it if you're sick, but I went ahead and got it. And then by that night, you guys, I was deathly ill on my couch, shaking, out of control, body aches, fever, just feeling like absolute death. And I was home alone and I didn't have any medicine. And so anyway, it was that kind of sickness where you're just so sick, you can't even go out and get yourself medicine. So my kids were calling medicine to be delivered to me. And then the next day I get a text that my mom, who, you know, is on very heavy duty traditional chemo, she was on Keytruda for years, but once it stopped working, they had to put her back on, you know, the heavy duty stuff. And so she already has a very compromised immune system, and she is now going to the hospital. She's in and out of consciousness, my brother says, and she has this influenza A too. So my mom was in the hospital, I was on the couch, and it was just so sad because I felt so hopeless. I sat there thinking, my God, if my body feels like this, then I can't imagine, oh, this makes me emotional. I can't imagine what my poor mom's body feels like, because she is just so weak and so frail now. So the thought of her little body battling what I was battling just broke my heart. But I didn't even have, like, I just sat there thinking I couldn't even get to my mom right now if I wanted to, because I was just so taken out. But luckily, my mother is home from the hospital. Her white blood count is still 2, not 200, but 2. But she is on the mend. I am finally on the mend, and thank God. But I will tell you, it really, when you get sick like that, it really does just make you so vulnerable and just so grateful for everything, for your health and all the things that you take for granted. Because I was honestly on that couch just thinking, well, if this house came down right now, I guess I'd go with it, because I just didn't have the strength. But thank God my body is strong enough to fight that off. Thank God my mom's body was still strong enough to fight that. And I am so grateful for that. So that was my last 12 days, you guys, and it rocked me. It rocked me physically. It rocked me spiritually. It was a lot, but fingers crossed, I'm coming out of it. I'm feeling a whole lot better. I'm probably at about 80%, not 100, but that's okay. Half the game is just showing up. So here we are, and here we go. And here's to vitamin C. If you wouldn't mind, say a prayer for my mom that her white blood cell count keeps rising, because she really needs to build her defenses again. And anyway, that's been my reality. Now, there is so much more of the juicy reality that we need to get to. So let's get Christy on the line so we can get into it. Hello, sweetheart.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
How are you feeling?
I'm probably about 75, 80%. I still don't feel great. Like, if I do even a little too much, I'll break out in a full body sweat. I'm just not strong yet, but I am feeling human again, which is so important. But it was brutal. It was really brutal. Like my lungs haven't recovered, and I think that's what's like when your lungs are heavy, just makes everything feel so much harder. You know what I mean? Walking from one side of the house to the other just kicks my ass.
Yeah. You sounded horrible when I talked to you last week. When you said, well, I didn't talk to you, you sent a voice text. We weren't even talking.
Because I was literally feeling, I'm not kidding, this sickness made me so emotional. I was calling the people I love. Basically, it almost felt like I was dying. I just wanted to just call. I'm like, I'm just so sick. But then I just got so stressed because my mom got so sick with it and she ended up in the hospital, like I told you, and I couldn't do anything about it. So I was just like, it was almost just like sitting in your own shit. There was nothing I could do about it. I hated it.
Sorry.
But anyway, we are on the road to recovery, Sugar Pie. I'm
good.
Drinking vitamin C like it's going out of style.
Right? That's all you can do.
So you want to hear my new song? This is what has been entertaining. I've been entertaining myself with this. My new song is Where in the World is Louie Ruelas? I'll teach it to you. Where in the world is Louie Ruelas? I mean, because truthfully, where is Louie Ruelas?
Has he not been on it? Well, he blocked you from social media.
But you can't find he's disappeared. He's literally disappeared. And I'm not sure if you saw what Chrissy Balls posted today.
I just saw.
Yes, somebody sent Chrissy a link to Teresa, who was plugging one of her latest appearances to Party with a Housewife, because that's what everybody wants to do. She's going to be somewhere at probably another casino or something. And the morning news anchors were interviewing her and they're like, so what's going on with Jersey? Are you coming back? And she's like, well, I hope so. Yeah. Well, I'm the OG. I guess ask Bravo. And then the guy took a sharp left and he was like, hey, so I'm just curious, how is it that families don't pay their taxes?
For you, he said, well, how? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because then she goes, well, what families? And he goes,
right.
He goes, yours.
Yeah, her face.
Did you see her face? And then did you see her panic because she didn't know how to get off of that FaceTime fast enough?
Because nobody asks her that question. And
nobody ever asks her that question.
And she usually has answers rehearsed on what she's going to be asked, or it's never that deep.
Well, and she does so much of that. Well, backpedaling, you know what I mean? And she just tries to fluster people until they stop asking. But he just hit her hard and fast, and that was the way to do it.
And then it showed her trying to get off of the Zoom and it went sideways this way. She's like, how do I get off of this? And she just went silent.
And then she just went silent, which I mean, honestly, if you look at poor Teresa's stories used to be full of so many incredible fun things that she was involved in and doing.
Trip, you mean?
Now it's dwindled down to almost nothing. I mean, she is the opposite of booked and busy. Sorry. Party with a housewife, that's all you got? Sorry, sweetie, that is not good. And I mean, it's literally gotten to the point with even on her podcast, she just interviews her daughters, honestly. I mean, this last episode was just interviewing her daughter. I mean, really?
Gia again?
No, Gia's got her own podcast, Casual Chaos.
I did hear there's talk of Dolores maybe coming on the Rhode Island Housewives.
Oh yeah, no, that's a definite, which I think is great. Give Dolores a little off ramp. You know what I mean? Something to keep her busy. I mean, Dolores is like, she didn't do anything. She didn't share the screeners. She's like, why am I missing out on a paycheck? And so I think it's kind of good. Like everybody that is so wanting Jersey back, maybe that'll give them more of a reason to tune into that new show.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited to see.
I mean, yeah, anything, you got to try it. Although I did not try the show that Gia's on. I haven't.
I was just going to ask you about that. Have you dipped into Next Gen at all?
I fell asleep, I think, during the first one halfway, and then I never went back. Are you watching?
I've watched. I've dabbled. I've dabbled, and it's just I don't know. It's some of the kids are interesting, but not Gia. I'm sorry, Gia is just not interesting to me. There's nothing interesting about her at all. To me, she's just trying to be Teresa Jr., which doesn't entertain me or intrigue me in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I am watching, and this hiatus on life is what has allowed me to dive back in. And I have to tell you, I thought of you right away because can we talk about And Just Like That?
Oh my God. I mean,
Can we talk
what's happening on
what
television?
what in the holy Rosie O'Donnell is happening? What
It's horrible.
are you caught up?
Yeah.
Okay. Firstly, that episode where Rosie was on and she was singing to her in the middle of Times Square, I had to turn it off. I don't know what was happening to me. I could feel my whole chest turning inside out. I just kept saying, what same thing? What is happening right now? What in the holy hell is happening right now? And who allowed it to happen? And who are these writers? And and doesn't anyone read the script before they shoot it and think, I don't know, this sounds absolutely idiotic?
Idiotic. It's horrible. We're only watching it because it's them.
It's legacy. It's legacy. But now it's like they're like your crazy aunts who are like, it's like turning gray gardens. What in God's name? Carrie just last night I watched her drive an ATV in Virginia to go buy clothes. Carrie Bradshaw.
I know.
Are you listening to this? I thought I was hallucinating. And then you've got Charlotte and that guy. What happened with him on top of her last night trying to shove his penis inside of her? I was so sticking out. I can't watch that.
I know, but we are watching it. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Honestly, it's almost like a joke. That's what I'm sitting there thinking is it's almost like someone's trying to pull the wool over our eyes.
Well, last season wasn't as good, and now it just got worse.
Last season looks like it was award-winning television compared to what we're watching now.
Right.
I mean, bring back Che.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I mean, honestly, I just feel like to call it even cringe is like an understatement. I feel like we're being duped. Like this is like some kind of a joke is being played on all of us. I'll tell you what I am looking forward to. What about the new addition to Beverly Hills? Rachel Zoe joining the cast.
Bravo.
Bravo for that one. And talk about bringing back a legacy player.
Exactly. She's great.
I mean, do you remember her show was amazing and she is entertaining.
She is amazing.
So it's going to be super interesting, I think, because she's got a lot of personality.
Yeah, I love Rachel Zoe. I'm looking forward to it.
I am too.
I know you don't watch Miami, but Miami is so good.
Sweetie, here is my big announcement to you. I am all caught up, officially committed to Miami.
You watched from the beginning or just the beginning of?
While I was on my life hiatus because I had all of this time because I couldn't leave the couch. The only two places I went to the couch and my bed and my couch and I couldn't go anywhere else. So it was all I did was watch TV. And I even got to the point where I was like, I'm fucking tired of TV. I wanted to take that remote and just throw it at the I couldn't even watch TV anymore. But I did catch up. I watched all of last season. Now, mind you, I have watched Miami sporadically through the years. So
good.
I have some knowledge and some semblance of what's happening. But I did catch up. I watched the reunion, so I was good to go. And now I'm all caught up.
Miami is so beautiful. I mean, where they live is amazing. The clothes they wear, they are all so beautiful and hot.
They are all beautiful and hot. And honestly, they're all such unique, strong individuals in their own right that it really makes for just interesting dynamics. And you can just, and it feels very authentic.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of like, though you get those Latin women and they put, there's less appropriateness. I feel like on the West Coast, there's a lot of, well, this isn't the appropriate time. Is this really the appropriate setting for this?
Right.
They don't give a shit about that stuff.
Miami is fire, baby.
It is fire. And hilarious. And I don't know why that Marisol Patton makes me laugh.
Because she's wonderful. Her mother
Remember her mother? That's when I watched back in the day. And her mother was hilarious. And she's a chip off the old block.
Yeah, Marisol said to, what did she say this week? Just because you think it's good for the whole.
It's not good for the soul.
Right.
I sat there thinking, so true.
She's the best. They're all so good and funny. And
how about Martina Navratilova and her girl
Julia
adopting twins? Now, I'm sorry, I'm 53 years old. The thought of twins, the thought of even a single baby at this point, sounds so overwhelming to me.
Well, I have a puppy, and I feel like, good Lord, it's a lot.
Right. Speaking of what you have, can we just take a brief second to talk about your graduate?
Oh, Aydin, yes. We went to Santa Clara graduation on Saturday. And
you guys, Christy's middle son graduated from Santa Clara University. What an accomplishment.
Big time.
You guys should be, I know you're so proud, and that is just amazing.
Yeah, that was wonderful. We had a great day.
What's his major?
Business.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And he's already in business for himself, right?
Yeah, he has a little moving company, but now he'll go to bigger and better. Yeah.
So anyway, back to Miami. I'm invested. I'm excited. And I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Good. That makes me happy because it's great.
I know it really is. What about the Tyler Perry of it all? Did you hear about that?
No.
Tyler Perry is the latest to say that he has essayed some guy that was in one of his shows, and the guy has come out and made all of these allegations against Tyler Perry, saying that he made unwanted advances to him repeatedly, and he had to quit the show.
Wow.
Which I do not want to believe this about Tyler Perry at all, because I do think that he is an angel of a human. I really, really do. But also, I'm just a little confused about why a guy who is an up-and-coming actor would ever burn such a huge bridge in Hollywood if it wasn't true. Right? because that's a big one.
Wow. Yeah, I heard nothing of that.
Yeah. So that's percolating. That's percolating on the blogs right now. What about Kristen had her baby? How cute. Kaya Lily.
So cute.
I know, so cute. I can't wait to see you.
She's gonna be a great mom.
So great. So what about the fact that everybody is up in arms? Did you see that they released a picture of where Jax actually went to rehab?
No. What's that?
Well, let me tell you, it's in a track home in Woodland Hills. But everyone's making such a big deal about this rehab, and they're like so confused about why he had his cell phone in rehab. But I was in rehab in 2009, everybody, and we had our cell phones too. I had my cell phone. Cell phones, it's not like, the truth of the matter is that your cell phones are important to keep you connected, and no one is policing the way you behave. It was up to Jax to not abuse his cell phone and do shitty things with it. But, right? People show you who they are, right? I used mine to stay connected to my kids and stuff like that. People need their phones. It's an important way for people to stay connected to important things and make rehab work for them. So that rehab shouldn't be getting a bunch of shit just because Jax had his phone. Now, and it also shouldn't be getting shit just because it looks like a normal house on a normal block. You know what I mean? But
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
No, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. But
it's It's all about what's on the inside, not the outside.
Yeah, you got that right, sweetie. On Watch What Happens Live, speaking of Miami, Alexia did come out and say that she is officially no longer with Todd.
But she did sleep with him a few days before.
2 days before. Yeah, what does he have? Like a golden rod or something?
She can't help herself. She was hysterical on this last episode saying, please help me. I just can't
understand. I'm such a strong person.
Right. She can't help herself.
I mean, honestly, but I mean, doesn't there have to get to a point where, like, even if he does have a golden rod, like if someone's treating you so poorly over and over again, even the sex wears off. Clearly, he's not there yet.
Yeah, hopefully.
We got Lindsay coming back to Summer House. She's made it official.
Yes, and what's his name? The sex boy.
Imrul
is not.
Imrul is not.
Right. He just posted something yesterday or the day before saying he's out.
That's too bad. Speaking of ins and outs, Teresa seemed to think that because she was invited to BravoCon, that was a good sign for her and that she was back, right? But truthfully, what absolute bullshit. And now we have proof because Vicky Gunvalson has gone ahead and said that she too was invited to BravoCon. And that is just sheer proof that being invited to BravoCon does not mean that you are back on a show. We see that Vicky's not back on the show. They bring you back, you guys, because you're
alumni.
Because you're alumni. Exactly. Perfectly said. You are alumni. Jersey not having any direction yet. It's, of course, they're just going to bring back what the people know. Sorry, right. Teresa. No great indication.
I'll bet Paige won't go.
I don't think Paige will go either. I don't think that she has any, at this point, she has no Bravo affiliation. Nothing coming up with Bravo, at least that we know of, unless maybe Paige will get her own show. Maybe there'll be a Giggly Squad reality show.
She is starting a pajama line called Daphne after her cat and clothing.
Which is getting all kinds of backlash because of the prices. And they're saying that it feels like Temu, but she's charging $200. So I do love the name Daphne, though. I do love cute jammies. So we're going to be getting into the Valley in just a second, but everyone is calling it so toxic, right? The Valley is so toxic, so dark, and saying that Jax should be canceled. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about it. I don't think that Jax should be canceled. I don't, and you could call it toxic, but it's also just real life. People have long-standing cocaine addictions. You know what I mean? And
they're not talking about the cocaine. They're talking about him being an abuser, physically throwing a table at Brittany.
Yeah, I know. But that is all I think.
That's it. It doesn't matter about the cocaine.
Well, if the cocaine is what makes you, I know that my father was only violent when he was coming down from cocaine. Cocaine made my dad a violent man. My dad wasn't violent. Other than when he was, like when my dad was just smoking weed, my dad was not violent. My dad was only ever violent when he was coming down from coke. So I don't really think that Jax should be canceled because I've said it before. I don't think that you can grow and get from here to here if you get canceled. I know there was a time in my life when I had a raging drug addiction, and if someone had canceled me mid-growth, I wouldn't be where I am now. So I'm not about the cancel. But I'm also not about the fact that that fucker is saddling Brittany with a mortgage that went from $7,000 to $18,000 because of his irresponsible decisions, right?
Horrible.
But once again, that's Brittany. That's for Brittany to decide that she's worth more than that and to stand up for herself. And, you know, instead of, you know, blaming Jax for her life. That's, at some point you have to take responsibility for your own life and start carving your own path away from his dysfunction.
Yeah, and that's what she's
totally doing, which right. I think she is.
I heard she has a new boyfriend, and there's pictures of him out there. I haven't seen, but yeah, she said she has a new boyfriend.
Well, hopefully he's a cutie. Hopefully he's really cute. Hopefully he's so cute that it drives Jax crazy.
Anybody will drive Jax crazy. Do you watch the after show? It's better than the real show.
It's the only thing that I have left to watch this week is the after show.
So good.
Yeah, because you're right. Because they're all, I think, feeling like they're like in the kitchen with each other, just kind of their defenses are down and they say more.
Well, Jax just sits with his arms crossed the whole time, which shows his body language. And he just says what he thinks we want him to, what we want him to say, you know.
That's exactly right. And that's how you know that that's how you gauge somebody's growth, really, because their language changes. And it goes from that bullshit that he's regurgitating to us
always
to things that they start talking differently, where they're like, have realizations about themselves. And suddenly you're like, whoa, they've never spoken like that before.
Yeah, he's not a changed person at all. He's
not at all.
He's sober, but she also says he's still the same Jax. So another
right. Well, I say all the time that and Jax touches on this in the episode when he says that, I came to realize that the problem isn't just drugs and alcohol. The problem is what's going on underneath the drugs and alcohol. And that is absolutely the truth. And that's why I say all the time that you could be sober, not doing drugs, sober, not drinking alcohol. But if your spirit is still under the influence, then you are screwed and you're going to keep making decisions from the same place. And so, Jax,
that's what we watch.
So this week's episode starts with him getting out of rehab. But before that, they show Brittany sitting down playing blocks with her son, and she says, "J for Jax."
Or Jason.
Like, how about jump at this point? Jump or juicy or
jelly
bean, exactly. Anything but Jax or Jason.
Jump was a good one.
So, and then what about him? He gets in Jesse's car and clutches his 30-day. I didn't think I could do it.
He's such an actor.
He's such an actor. But he's such a B-list actor. Well, he should have done porn or something.
Mm-hmm. It's disgusting.
And then the way he goes, I really unpack some serious stuff about my mom, stuff about my childhood that I thought I'd never talk about. I mean, even that, it's like, what did you do? It's like he consulted ChatGPT.
Right.
Right? To talk about what do I say to sound like I've made some growth?
Right. That's funny.
And then he goes on and says, no one's ever held me accountable. No one's ever held me accountable. And I'm gonna need everybody to I'm gonna need that to change. I'm gonna need people to hold me accountable.
Right.
And Jesse's like, that's not gonna be a problem. Don't you worry. Everybody's gonna be holding you accountable, Jax.
Yeah.
and then he goes on and on about, well, did you hear about what happened at the bar last night? You were there, right? They took over my bar.
Give me a break.
Give me a break. I mean, honestly, the fact that all he does is advertise that. What about him? I mean, how about Jax just wear something that doesn't say Jax is on it?
Yeah.
And didn't I tell you that when Mike and I ended up down at that place, that it looked like it was on its last leg? I just read an article yesterday that they're talking about they're deciding whether or not they're going to pour more money into it to keep it open or just close it down. Because it's going to need something. It's going to need either a total revamp. Maybe they just need to make it Brit's.
So what it is it's the patio. It's only a patio, right?
Yeah, but let me tell you something. It's a huge space. It's wild. It is attached to another restaurant. I think Rocco's, but
they just sold.
Rocco's did?
Yeah. I heard
how long ago?
I heard it this week that they sold their business and he's just the back patio.
Yeah, he is the back patio. It is an absolutely huge space though. It
looks pretty big when I've seen
it. And there's different areas. There's a inside bar area. There's this outdoor area. And then there's this kind of dual area that's kind of an indoor-outdoor situation. It's a really cool space, but it was a really empty space when we were there. And from what I hear, it's not doing any better.
Doesn't surprise me.
It feels like a miracle that it's even lasted. as long as it has. Jesse drives Jax back to his house where the, the Couchy compound, or what does that say? The Couchy, what, homestead?
Homestead. And that was in the garbage.
Yeah. Brittany came home and found that thrown away. But what about when he gets there and he sits there and he looks around and he's with Jesse and he goes, well, it's not like I'm taking her dishes. I'm not taking her forks. I'm not taking her cups. I'm not taking the $20,000 Lovesac couch. Even the fact that he has to throw in how much the fucking couch cost. He's
I know.
So desperate.
And then he's talking about how all the pictures are turned around, but he also did that himself a few months ago when he was having girls over. He's
right. He probably didn't remember that because he was probably too high on coke.
Right.
Imagine you go to a guy's house and you see a bunch of pictures. I mean, what the hell is this? That's like, I would have been so soon out of there.
Yeah.
And then he goes on that whole tirade about how she's going to need to sell this house and she's going to need to sell this house right away. Right? And what about the rage in his eyes? I mean, still rage.
And what about the necklace? What did you see? This big Run DMC necklace? It's like this thick, a gold, a silver chain that he's wearing. This thick.
No.
Ridiculous. I just can't. He makes me rage just by watching him.
I know. He wanted like a pat on the back because he wasn't taking her dishes. I mean,
they're your sons. He doesn't.
Oh yeah, then he did that, right? And it's not for her. He says, "I'm doing this for my son. I'm doing this for my son. You've never done anything for your son." And then he says, for a woman, what about a woman doesn't need a house this big.
Yeah, she just,
she needs to sell this house. She doesn't need 5 bedrooms. She needs a woman and a child don't need a house this big. I mean, what in God's name is that? And he believes it. You can tell he is dead ass serious. He really, really believes that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, what she doesn't need is an $18,000 bill to pay.
Mortgage. That's just the mortgage.
And just to keep his ass out of jail.
Exactly.
Just to keep his ass out of jail. Is there a way? I don't know, but it feels like there should be a way. If you have a spouse that goes rogue like that and stops paying, shouldn't you be able to like
there should be a law that
extricate yourself? Something that protects you. Like, how do you know that the person that you're with isn't going to totally go off the deep end and become a Jax?
Well, when she got with him, that tax thing was already there, and time just went on.
Well, yeah, I think he ignored it. And then they're like, okay, well, you're going to have to pay it. And if you don't have the cash, you're going to have to fold that into your mortgage.
Exactly.
And then suddenly she's like, I'm strapped with this bill from you being a bozo before I even knew you. Fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it just gets worse.
Then Jesse tells Jax that he's actually having a party at his house
for Zach.
Yeah, for Zach and his
boyfriend.
That's his boyfriend. It's his official boyfriend, right?
Yes, for him coming. He's moving in with Zach.
What about that boyfriend? He looks 8. I don't know, 12. I've never seen a human being look that like is he even legal?
I was wondering if Zach was really tall in real life, and I don't.
Maybe. Is he?
I don't know. The guy looked really small next to him.
Also, I'm pretty sure he needs to go because this is not his first time in LA. And then he went ahead and booked his flight coming into LAX, not Burbank, LAX, not just at 5 o'clock, but at 5 o'clock on a Friday.
Yeah.
He should be shot. He's useless. Who would ever do such a thing? And then we go to Aaron's house and him and Michelle are out on the front lawn. And Aaron, I think that Aaron is a sweet guy, but I'm telling you, he pulls some funny faces.
You mean his eyes?
The eyes.
Physically? Yeah, his eyes are very big.
Very expressive eyes.
Too much honey.
Too much honey. Oh my God. I bet he wishes that he would have had the P. Diddy account or the because you hear Diddy seems to think that honey makes a man extra
Right.
manly,
Oh,
which
I
I've
heard
never heard in my life. Have you?
never. I thought the same thing. I thought I never heard that.
And you know what else I thought? You know how sticky honey is. I mean,
Exactly.
just the littlest drip of honey, and you are sticky top to bottom. Like I cannot even. I hope they didn't bring the honey to bed because that would be a
I
nightmare.
don't think so. I think Diddy was just saying you ingest it and it makes you,
Yeah,
right?
strong like
Strong
strong
like
like an ox.
bull. Yeah.
Michelle gives Aaron the update on
Her mom.
which I gotta tell you, that real, I mean, I'm not kidding you. I saw red. I saw absolutely red when I heard that he said no, that she wasn't going to be able to spend time, any extra time with her grandma. Can you even imagine? Like, that's a barbaric, and also barbaric for Michelle to just even have to deal with someone who would even come up with such a fucked up answer like that. No.
Right. He was trying to say when it was his turn later on in the
Later on, he talks about it. But what about Michelle when she was saying that her daughter Isabella and him get up and tiptoe?
so sweet.
So sweet. And
Flowers.
yeah, and they go out and have their little morning routine. And that is so sweet. And I bet that does feel so different than her life with Jesse, and probably just so refreshing. But yeah, then they go in, and he seems to be a really good attentive. I mean, you got to be a good guy to take that much time out with a little girl that isn't yours.
Exactly. His house is cute too. He has a really
Yeah.
cute house.
And then the guys go out to dinner where Jason tells Danny as soon as he gets there, "No, dude, we're not cool.
Right.
We're not cool. You know, I got your message. We're not cool." I mean,
Get out of here.
the Jason and the Janet of it all are just a little too much for me.
Same.
I just we're not cool. No, you're not cool. So this is a guys' dinner, and it's basically welcoming Jax back to the real world, right? And everybody's like, "Oh, Jax, man, so glad you're back. So glad you're back." And then Jax says, "So what about Santa Barbara? What happened in Santa Barbara?"
Right.
Everyone's like, "Oh, Santa Barbara was great. Da da da." And he was like, "No, dark side, Danny."
Yeah.
And they're so textbook Jax, right?
Yeah.
Trying to throw Danny under the bus and trying to put him in the same little dysfunctional arena that he's in, right? He doesn't want to be the only one that's thought of as an addict that needs help.
Right.
So he's going to take the low-lying fruit and say, "Oh, I hear you."
Right. And Danny's like, I don't know what you've been hearing, but you know.
And then Jason
I'm
came
not doing
again, and he was like, "I don't think you're in touch with reality," or something like that.
Right.
Which is bullshit. And then the guy, who was the guy at the table that was that like Jax's sponsor or something? Who was the guy that brought up the Brits takeover from the night before? It's like we're gonna need to address what happened.
Then Brittany didn't even do it. They did it for her. She just walked into it. But yeah, I'm not sure. Is it Jax's buddy, Jax's friend?
I don't know, but did you hear the guys were like, "Well, I didn't plan that. That wasn't my thing." And Jax goes, "Well, you partaked. Partaked.
Right.
And it was like, that was another moment I had where I just thought, he's really not the smartest.
No, not at all.
He's not the sharpest tool in the shed. And really, when you look back on things, like there's real like basics. Like maybe maybe he has a real like inferiority complex because he feels like an idiot. Maybe because he's not too.
Because he is.
Because he is. You know, honestly.
Yeah.
Partaked.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. And then he even said to Danny, he goes, "Well, Danny, you have been kicked out of my bar a couple times." I mean, they're really trying to
villainize or
vilify Danny.
Right.
Way. And It's almost like everybody has their own angle for it, but it's all because, you know, makes them look better. Fucking Janet is
Janet's behind Jason.
Janet's totally behind Jason, and Jason's behind Janet. Like, so.
Right.
So then we go from there over to Zach's boyfriend's welcome back party, which was like, how awkward was that? Holy shit.
Yeah.
And then, oh God, as soon as Danny and Nia walk in, it just gets super awkward with Jason and Janet. And then you know it's only a matter of time. And Nia says to Janet, hey, can I talk to you over here before the party gets going?
Right.
Janet. And then Brittany, for her part, is telling everybody that she unblocked Jax days ago, but he still hasn't reached out to see his kid. That's another thing. Why wasn't that the first thing that he wanted to do? Why wasn't that the first thing? Why is he getting Botox? Why is he getting Botox instead of putting his kid to bed?
He got Botox. He got a haircut. He went out to dinner with his buddies. 1 week after he got out and he didn't see Cruz.
It's unbelievable. So Brittany's there so stressed because she knows that he's going to be showing up any minute. And that's the feeling. That's the feeling that she needs to escape. Just like, fuck Jax. When he walks through this door, he doesn't need that. That's my nervous system. Yeah.
Exactly. She's not there yet.
She's not there yet. So then Mia takes Janet aside for a talk. She says, I need clarity around these things, which Nia was awesome. She went straight for it, and I thought she did a great job. She goes, we need to talk. And Janet goes, I did say negative things about Danny because I think your husband's behavior is horrible. And she goes, horrible?
Yeah.
And then she goes on and she says, and actually, I feel really sorry for you. So now she's telling her that her husband's behavior is not only horrible, but that she feels sorry for her. And Nia's just fuming. You can just see it. She goes, but if your husband's going to go to a public bar and get blacked out and act a fool and make other women uncomfortable, it's going to get talked about. And she goes, he wasn't blacked out. He had 2 seltzers.
And Janet's like, no. And it showed him also having more.
Right. And she goes, well, if he only had 2 seltzers and he's acting like that, then that's a
problem also.
Yeah. But then she goes, or she said something about his behavior, and Nia goes, what behavior? She says, well, he was butting into the conversation and calling me a snake. And it just made me laugh because it was like Janet was basically saying that he must have been drunk because he butted into my conversation, called me a snake, so he must have been drunk. But maybe he wasn't drunk and just thought you were a snake.
Right.
Why does he have to be drunk to think that you're a snake, sweetie?
Yeah.
Nice way of trying to frame it up like, oh, he must have been drunk if he called me a snake. Maybe he was stone cold sober and called you a snake. Maybe he really thinks it.
Right. Can't take it. Janet's pissed.
Yeah. And Janet says, Mia says, I feel like you're trying to bring a bad light. And Janet says, I'm bringing the truth. And then Janet runs over to Jason and she spills everything.
Yeah, Nia, I don't know.
What do you think? Do you think they're all overreacting?
I do. Leave him alone.
Leave him alone. It's his life. Whether he has an issue or not, your meddling isn't going to help.
Right.
Right? You could just be a friend or don't be a friend. Oh, then Jax joins the party. And a hush falls upon the room.
With his shirt all unbuttoned.
What about the fact that you could literally feel through the television, the whole energy shifted in the entire party as soon as he walked in.
And he walks in and he gives this fakest hug and he puts his head on, I think it was Jason's shoulder. It's like acting like, oh, I'm fine, but not. It's all an act.
Isn't it gross?
It's all an act.
It's all an act. Then he goes over and he chats with Kristen, who gives him some tough love. I feel like Kristen's the only one that
really knows him and sees through his bullshit.
Totally. And she ends her tough talk with, I hope you know that I really love you and care for you a lot. And I believe that she does.
Yeah, I do too.
I really do. Then inside the party, me and Danny are sitting with Jesse and Mia dives into that whole conversation about Michelle's sick mom with Jesse. And she says, well, what I heard is that you're not going to allow Isabella to see her grandmother. And Jesse starts by saying, firstly, I had no idea how sick her mom was. How's that? Because I really doubt that Michelle called him and didn't say, hey, my mom is extremely sick, and give him the details. It's not like she just said, hey, my mom's got a cough or my mom's not feeling well. Maybe Isabella should spend some time with her.
Right.
How does he get off saying that he didn't realize how sick she was? It doesn't make any sense to me. But then he goes on to further say that he's not against Isabella spending time with her grandmother. He knows she needs to spend time, but that him and Michelle need to get on the same page about Isabella's relationship with life and death. So hold on. How old is this little girl? 4 or something? 3 or 4?
Right, because he's saying he doesn't want her to be with her and get close, and then all of a sudden she's gone.
Like something I think like that, or like she needs to understand like the gravity of what her grandmother's going through. But at this point,
right,
a little girl that's that age,
yeah,
only really understand that grandma's really sick, right? We don't know. How do you explain? Oh, and then she's going to be gone. Go spend a lot of time with your grandma, and then she's going to be gone. You have to, it's a day by day thing. I have 2 nephews that just lost their grandpa on the other side. And when you say Papa's sick, I mean, they know. It's kind of like, we have more than just our 5 senses. You can sense when someone that you love is ill and transitioning to the other side. So I think what's interesting is you see Jesse, he got emotional. I think he is actually really the biggest basket case of all. He just pretends like he's not. He comes off like such an asshole, but I feel like when he was talking about Michelle's mom, he was on the verge of tears. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I think it's maybe all just like too much for him. So he just like defaults to being an asshole because it's easier.
It's right. It's the easier way to go.
But anyway, I wonder how Michelle's mom is. I mean, that broke my heart. I can't.
Well, she passed away, didn't she?
She did?
She passed away, I'm pretty sure.
She did?
I think so.
Do you know when?
Wasn't she on Watch What Happens Live the other? I want to say.
Oh, I don't know. But I
double check that. But I want to say that is what I think I heard.
So brutal. That's brutal. Anyway, back in the kitchen, Jesse's life coach is questioning Jax. Did you hear that? I can't.
I cannot with the life coach, and I cannot with Jax.
And he tells him, yeah, I'm proud of you, man. He goes, yeah, I didn't think I could do it. It's just, I mean,
I know.
It's walk around patting himself on the back.
Right.
It's so sad. Then Zach walks into the kitchen, and that's
really the number 1 guy in the group. Get on in here, Zach.
Zach's getting better and better and better.
Love him.
Isn't he great?
He gave it to him, and I loved it. Jack was just spiraling.
I mean, hello, Zach. I am because he knows, and he is confident in what he knows. And so it's almost like that news anchor with Teresa today.
Right.
He just gave it to him. Straight up, like, we're not going to pussyfoot around this. I'm not going to let you double talk me. No.
Yeah.
And then Jax turns around and goes, stay out of my bar.
Yeah, you're not welcome to my bar anymore.
Yeah, my bar, my bar.
Oh.
And Zach goes, you mean your bar, even though Brittany's the one that put all the money into it. And he goes, it's my bar. Stay out. Just like this is my show.
And then Zach says, well, it hasn't been for the last 30 days. Yeah, I loved it.
I loved that. Zach was Zach is
the number 1 guy in the group.
Zach is 100% the number 1 guy in the group.
Yeah.
He says, Jax says, I want to talk to Brittany. And Zach's like, she doesn't want to talk to you. And then Jax moves out of the Couchy homestead. Jason and Schwartz come over to help. And Jack says, I haven't seen my son. I'm missing milestones.
Yeah.
It's just not fair. It's just not fair. And then they take whatever he wanted to keep from that house. They go to the new place. 7 hours later, Brittany returns, finds those pictures of her dad in the garbage.
Grew up. Yeah. He's
Do that.
right.
And then what about the fact that Janet comes over and she's sitting there on her phone and she goes, ha ha ha, oh my God. And she finds that Jax burner account. And somebody says something about Jax, and that burner account calls him a legend.
He calls himself a legend. His Frank Drummond, and he comments on about himself on all these platforms.
Oh my God.
Of course he does.
Of course he does. And then he turned around and freaking forgot. Did you see? And he DM'd Brittany from that account. Answer the phone. Answer the phone. Oh my God. It's
hilarious.
I thought that was the best part of maybe this whole season for me.
Right.
Out that he is messaging, he's a legend. And then it all wraps up with Danny and Nia making some big life decisions. They are going to buy a house, they are going to have another baby, and they are going to help Luke plan his Hawaiian engagement to Kristen. And that is something I can't wait for. I'm really excited about that.
So sweet.
Also, sorry, I got to say this. He said that engagement ring was 4 carats and $14,000. That's way too cheap. The quality must be absolute shit. I'm sorry. And anybody else who knows anything about diamonds, please chime in and tell me if I'm crazy, because I used to have a nearly 2-carat diamond that back in like 2001 was $13,000. And no, something's wrong with that.
Right.
4 carats for $14,000.
And that's the Kyle Chan discount.
Maybe he got the Kyle Chan discount. Exactly.
Right.
Anyway. All right, sweetheart. Well, that about does it for this week. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It has been my pleasure. I'm going to go take a nap now. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
Christy May's Garage on Instagram.
You know Christy, everybody. If you need succulents in the South Bay, she is your girl. Hit her up. All right, babe. I love you. I'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.
Bye. All right, everybody. That about does it for this episode of Generally Speaking. If you've been watching us on YouTube, please make sure you reach out and smash that subscribe button. I would appreciate it. If you've been listening on your favorite streaming platform, please make sure you give us a follow, leave us a message, give us a 5-star rating. We would appreciate that. If you want to reach me on socials, you can find me on TikTok at This Is Generally Speaking, or on Instagram at The Jennifer Snook. And if you want to get your hands on some of this adorable Generally Speaking merch, I will leave the link down below. All right, everybody, I've loved spending this time with you. Thank you so much for being here. And until we're together again, everybody, stay rooted in love. We'll see you next time.